The coffee had gone cold hours ago, but Dr. Emma Torres barely noticed. Her eyes burned from staring at the endless streams of data flowing across her monitors. The deep space listening post in Chile had picked up something strange 3 days ago, and she had not slept since. Still nothing? Dr. Alex Kumar pushed through the lab door carrying 2 fresh cups of coffee. His physics team had been working just as hard, trying to make sense of the signal's impossible origin point. Emma shook her head. It's not random noise. There's a pattern here, but it's unlike anything we've ever seen. She pointed to the waveforms, dancing across her screen. Look at this. The signal repeats every 47 minutes, but each repetition has tiny changes. It's almost like... Like what? Like someone is trying different ways to say the same thing. Different languages, different methods. Emma's fingers flew over her keyboard, isolating sections of the transmission. Alex, this signal is coming from the void between galaxies. Nothing should be out there. Alex set down the coffee and leaned over her shoulder. The energy signature is off the charts. Whatever sent this has power sources we can't even imagine. He paused, studying the data. Emma, look at these quantum markers. This signal has been traveling for over 2 million years. 2 million years. The number hit Emma like a physical blow. That means whoever sent this is long dead. Has to be. Emma's computer suddenly chimed. The pattern recognition software had found something. She opened the results and felt her blood turn cold. Alex, look at this. The software found mathematical constants embedded in the signal. Pi, the golden ratio, prime number sequences. But they're arranged in a specific way. She pulled up the translation matrix she had been building. Slowly, painfully, words began to form on her screen. The first complete sentence made her hands shake. They come. Alex grabbed her shoulder. Keep going. More words appeared as the program worked through the data. We failed. You are next. Prepare or perish. The lab fell silent except for the hum of computers. Emma stared at the message, her mind racing. There's more data attached. Technical specifications, star charts, something that looks like blueprints. Emma, we need to call this in. She was already reaching for the secure phone. Within an hour, the lab filled with government officials, military personnel, and scientists from around the world. General Patricia Hayes arrived from the Pentagon, her face grim as she studied the translated message. Is this some kind of hoax? She demanded. Dr. Alan Price from MIT examined the quantum encryption markers. General, this level of quantum manipulation is beyond our current technology by at least a century, possibly more. No one on Earth could fake this. Emma had been analyzing the attached data files. General, whoever sent this didn't just warn us. They included technical blueprints, faster-than-light communication systems, propulsion technology, weapons designs. It's like they're giving us the tools to fight back. Fight back against what? Emma brought up the star charts embedded in the signal. They showed a section of space between galaxies with a massive object moving through the void. According to these calculations, something is heading toward our galaxy. Something huge. Alex had been running calculations on his laptop. Based on the trajectory and speed shown in these charts, it will reach the outer edges of our galaxy in about 5 years. General Hayes studied the data. What exactly are we looking at here? Dr. Price pointed to the energy readings. The object shows signs of artificial construction. It's not a natural phenomenon. Someone built this thing and it's consuming everything in its path. Emma enhanced the star charts. Look at these markers along its route. Each one represents a star system. But as this object passes through, the energy signatures disappear. It's like the stars are being turned off. The room buzzed with worried conversations. General Hayes raised her hand for silence. What's our next step? We need to verify this independently, Dr. Price said. Point every telescope we have at the coordinates in these charts. Within 24 hours, observatories around the world confirmed the impossible. The Hubble Space Telescope, the James Webb Telescope, and ground-based installations all showed the same thing. A massive artificial structure, larger than entire solar systems, was moving through the void between galaxies. Emma worked frantically to decode more of the technical data. The blueprints are incredibly detailed. They're showing us how to build something called a void drive. It manipulates dark energy for faster-than-light travel. Dr. Price studied the propulsion specifications. This is revolutionary. With this technology, we could reach other star systems in weeks instead of centuries. There's more, Emma said. Communication systems that work instantly across any distance, weapons that can disrupt matter at the quantum level, defensive shields that bend space-time itself. General Hayes made a decision that would change humanity forever. We're treating this as a legitimate threat. I'm recommending to the President that we begin immediate development of these technologies. Alex looked up from his calculations. General, there's something else. According to the signal's trajectory data, we have maybe 18 months before this thing reaches the outer edges of our galaxy. If it continues at current speed, it will reach Earth in about 20 years. 20 years to prepare for something that destroyed a civilization advanced enough to build these technologies. General Hayes studied the translated message again. What happened to the species that sent this warning? Emma had been wondering the same thing. She pulled up the final section of decoded data. There's a last message here. It's harder to translate, but I think it says something like, "We gave everything to slow them down. Hope someone stronger will finish what we started." The weight of that message settled over everyone in the room. Somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, an entire civilization had fought and died to buy other species time. Now that burden had fallen to humanity. Dr. Price broke the silence. We need to share this with every nation on Earth. If we're going to survive this, we'll need everyone working together. General Hayes nodded. I'll contact the other world leaders immediately, but first we need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. She turned to Emma. Doctor, I need you to decode every byte of data in that signal. We need to know everything this dead civilization learned about our enemy. Emma looked at the star charts showing the approaching darkness. Somewhere out there, something ancient and hungry was coming for Earth. But humanity now had warning, technology, and most importantly, time to prepare. She turned back to her computer and began working. The real fight for humanity's survival was just beginning. 18 months had transformed Earth beyond recognition. Where once peaceful cities had sprawled across continents, massive industrial complexes now reached toward the sky. The sound of construction never stopped. Humanity had united with a single purpose that had never existed before in their history. Captain Maria Santos stood in the experimental shipyard floating in Earth's orbit, watching technicians make final adjustments to humanity's first void drive. The massive engine looked nothing like the chemical rockets that had carried humans to space for decades. Instead of fuel tanks and combustion chambers, the void drive consisted of crystalline matrices that seemed to bend light around them. Final systems check complete, announced Dr. Ben Foster over the communication system. His team had spent the last year developing what they called the neural web, a quantum communication network that could send messages instantly across any distance. Maria, you're cleared for the first test jump. Maria felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Every human alive was watching this moment. The test ship, barely larger than an old space shuttle, would either prove that humanity could master the alien technology or explode in a spectacular failure that would set their preparations back months. Neural web connection established, Ben reported. We'll be able to talk to you no matter how far you go. Maria activated the void drive. Reality seemed to twist around her ship as the crystalline matrices began glowing with an eerie blue light. Space itself appeared to fold, and suddenly she was no longer in Earth's orbit. The stars had changed. Her navigation computer showed impossible readings. She was over 4 light-years from Earth, near the Alpha Centauri system. The journey that should have taken centuries had happened in seconds. "Ben, are you receiving this?" She spoke into her communication system. "Loud and clear, Maria." "How do you feel?" "Like I just rode a lightning bolt through a hurricane." Maria began scanning the Alpha Centauri system with her ship's sensors. "Ben, you need to see this. I'm picking up artificial structures in this system." The readings showed massive geometric shapes orbiting one of the stars. They were clearly not natural formations, but they were cold, dark, and appeared to be completely dead. "Maria, get closer and record everything. We need to know what we're dealing with." As Maria's ship approached the alien structures, her sensors revealed the horrible truth. The geometric shapes were the remains of some kind of harvesting operation. Entire planets had been stripped down to their cores, their matter converted into these cold, lifeless constructs. "Ben, this system is dead. Whatever came through here consumed everything. Planets, moons, even the asteroid belt. There's nothing left but these harvesting platforms." The implications hit both of them immediately. The enemy wasn't just destroying civilizations. They were consuming entire star systems, converting everything into more of themselves. Maria completed her survey and jumped back to Earth, her mind reeling from what she had witnessed. The void drive worked perfectly, but the intelligence they had gathered was terrifying. Back on Earth, Dr. Emma Torres had made another breakthrough in decoding the alien message. She had discovered references to an ancient species called the Builders, and more importantly, she had found evidence that they had visited Earth's solar system millions of years ago. "The Builders left something on Mars," Emma announced to the emergency session of world leaders. According to the decoded data, they established monitoring stations on dozens of worlds throughout the galaxy. A joint mission to Mars confirmed Emma's translation. Deep beneath the planet's surface, human excavation teams discovered a massive facility filled with builder technology. Dr. Rachel Kim, the team's lead archaeologist, found the most important discovery in what appeared to be the facility's central computer core. "It's a message," Rachel reported. "The builders knew they were going to lose their war against the harvesters, so they seeded the galaxy with these facilities, hoping that someday another species would find them and continue the fight. The builder facility on Mars contained detailed records of the enemy. The harvesters were not a single species, but a collective intelligence that consumed entire civilizations and added their knowledge and biology to its ever-growing network. Each system they devoured made them stronger and smarter. The builders fought them for over 1,000 years." Rachel translated from the ancient records. "They developed the void drive technology, the neural web, everything we found in that original message. But in the end, they were overwhelmed. The final builder message was both heartbreaking and inspiring. They had sacrificed their entire civilization to slow down the harvesters, hoping to buy time for younger species to develop and eventually stand against the threat. Ben Foster's neural web project had expanded beyond anything anyone had imagined. The quantum communication system now connected every major construction facility on Earth and throughout the solar system. Humanity was building their first interstellar fleet faster than any species had ever developed technology. The shipyards around Earth operated continuously. Massive arc ships, each capable of carrying millions of people, took shape alongside sleek warships armed with builder weapons technology. Asteroid mining operations stripped entire rock formations to provide raw materials. But the most important development was happening in the laboratories where human scientists were improving on builder designs. Where the builders had created efficient but predictable technology, humans added unpredictability and innovation. "We're not just copying their technology," explained Dr. Price during a status briefing. "We're making it better. Human creativity combined with builder knowledge. is producing results neither species could have achieved alone. The improved void drives could jump farther and faster than the original builder designs. The neural web could coordinate the movements of entire fleets with precision no single commander could match. Most importantly, human weapons designers had developed something the builders never tried: weapons that adapted during combat. Maria Santos now commanded humanity's first battle fleet. Her flagship, the Defiance, was larger than any structure humans had ever built. Its hull incorporated builder defensive technology with human tactical innovation. "Status report," Maria requested as she reviewed the fleet preparations. 47. "Capital ships completed with 200 support vessels," reported her tactical officer. "All ships equipped with void drives and neural web connectivity. Weapon systems are online and tested. But even as humanity prepared for war, scout ships brought back disturbing intelligence. The harvesters had reached the outer edges of the galaxy and were moving faster than the builder calculations had predicted. "They're learning," Emma Torres warned during an emergency briefing. "Each system they consume gives them more knowledge about our galaxy. They're adapting their approach based on what they discover." The harvesters had already consumed 12 star systems on the galaxy's edge. Each conquest seemed to accelerate their progress toward the inner systems where most intelligent life existed. Ben Foster brought up a holographic display of the galaxy, showing the harvester advance as a spreading darkness. At their current rate, they'll reach the first inhabited systems in less than 3 years. Maria studied the tactical projections. "How many civilizations are in their path?" "Over 40 inhabited systems. Billions of lives." Emma's voice was quiet. "And we're the only ones who know they're coming." The weight of responsibility was crushing. Humanity had gone from a single-world species to the galaxy's only defense against extinction in less than 2 years. But as Maria looked at the fleet they had built and the determination in every human face around her, she felt something the builders had apparently lost: hope. "Then we better get moving," she said. "We have a galaxy to save." The asteroid field looked empty at first glance, just another collection of dead rocks drifting through space. But Dr. Rachel Kim's sensors detected something that made her pulse quicken. Hidden among the larger asteroids were artificial structures, carefully camouflaged to look like natural formations. "There's definitely someone down there," she reported to Captain Tom Bradley aboard the scout ship Pioneer. "The heat signatures are trying to hide, but our new sensors can pick up their power sources." Tom had been chosen to lead humanity's first contact mission because of his diplomatic training and calm demeanor. But nothing had prepared him for this moment. After months of searching the outer galaxy for survivors, they had finally found someone. "Open a communication channel on all frequencies," Tom ordered. "Let's see if anyone wants to talk." The response came immediately, but not in words. Every weapon system on the hidden bases suddenly powered up, targeting the human ship. The message was clear: "Leave or be destroyed." "Wait," Dr. Rachel Kim called out. "I'm picking up a transmission. It's heavily encrypted, but I think I can break it." Minutes later, alien words filled the ship's speakers. The translation software, improved with builder linguistic data, began working through the unknown language. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself or be destroyed. This system is under Kaleth protection." Tom activated the communication system. "This is Captain Tom Bradley of the Earthship Pioneer. We come in peace. We're looking for survivors of the Harvester. Attacks." The silence stretched for several tense minutes. Then another voice came through, older and more cautious. "You claim to be from Earth. How do you know about the Harvesters?" "We received a warning message from the builders. We've been preparing to fight." "Impossible. The builders died 2 million years ago. Tom made a decision that would change everything. We can prove it. We have builder technology and we know about their facilities throughout the galaxy. Let us meet face to face." After hours of negotiation, the aliens agreed to a meeting on a neutral asteroid. Tom took a small shuttle, accompanied only by Dr. Kim, and 2 security officers. The alien who met them was unlike anything humans had imagined. Commander Zeth stood nearly 7 feet tall, with reptilian features and scales that shifted color based on his emotional state. But his eyes held intelligence and something that looked like desperate hope. "You truly have builder technology," Zeth observed, studying Tom's equipment. "We thought we were the last." "How long have you been hiding here?" Rachel asked. 300 of your years. My people, the Kaleth, have been running from the harvesters since they first entered our galaxy. We are all that remains of a civilization that once spanned dozens of worlds." Zeth led them through the hidden base, showing them how his people had survived. The Kaleth had become masters of concealment, building their refuges inside asteroids and dead moons, using minimal power and keeping their populations small to avoid detection. "The harvesters are not just destroyers," Zeth explained. "They are collectors. They consume civilizations and add their knowledge, their biology, their technology to their collective mind. Each species they absorb makes them stronger and more dangerous." Tom felt a chill as he understood the implications. "They learn from every conquest." Exactly. That is why they are so difficult to defeat. They adapt, using the knowledge of every species they have consumed. Your builder friends discovered this too late. Rachel had been studying the Kaleth historical records. According to this data, the harvesters have consumed over 2,000 different species. They have the combined knowledge of entire galactic civilizations. But Zeth had more disturbing news. There is only one way to stop them, and it requires a choice no civilized species wants to make. He brought up a holographic display showing the harvester advance pattern. "The only successful defense we have seen is denial. When a system cannot be defended, it must be destroyed before the harvesters arrive. Deny them the resources and knowledge they seek." Tom stared at the display in horror. "You're talking about destroying inhabited worlds." "I am talking about survival. The Kaleth have done this 17 times. 17 worlds with billions of lives, destroyed to prevent the harvesters from growing stronger." Zeth's scales darkened, with what Tom recognized as grief. "Each time, we told ourselves it was necessary. Each time, part of our souls died with those worlds. The moral weight of that revelation hit the humans like a physical blow." Rachel spoke first. "There has to be another way. We thought so too once. But the mathematics are clear. Every world the harvesters consume makes them exponentially more dangerous. Eventually, they become unstoppable." Tom studied the tactical data, his mind racing through alternatives. "What if we evacuated the worlds instead of destroying them?" Zeth's scales shifted to a pattern that indicated surprise. "Evacuate entire civilizations? The logistics would be impossible. Where would you take them?" "We build a fleet large enough to carry everyone. We make a stand somewhere defensible, with the combined strength of multiple species." "It has never been tried. The numbers alone," Zeth began calculating on his computer. "To evacuate even one heavily populated world would require thousands of transport ships. Then we build thousands of transport ships." Tom's voice carried a conviction that surprised even him. "Humans don't give up easily, and we definitely don't abandon people who need help." Zeth studied the human captain for a long moment. "Your species is either very brave or very foolish." "Usually both," Tom admitted. "Will you help us?" The alliance between humans and Kaleth was formalized within days. The Kaleth brought detailed intelligence about harvester tactics and the locations of other potential survivor groups. More importantly, they brought hope that had been missing from their struggle for centuries. But the challenges were enormous. Intelligence reports showed 12 inhabited systems directly in the harvester path. The closest would be reached in less than 18 months. "We need to move faster than any civilization has ever moved," Tom reported to the fleet commanders. "We're talking about evacuating billions of beings from 12 different species, most of whom have never seen a starship." Captain Maria Santos had been studying the tactical requirements. Our current fleet can handle maybe 2 full evacuations. We need to build more ships, and we need them yesterday. The neural web allowed coordination between Earth's shipyards and Kaleth engineering teams. Human industrial capacity combined with Kaleth stealth technology produced a new generation of ARC ships that could carry massive populations while remaining hidden from harvester sensors. But there was another problem. Not every species would trust humanity's intentions. The Thorians have refused all contact, reported the diplomatic team. They believe humans are working with the harvesters. Several other species are also suspicious. Dr. Emma Torres had been working on that problem from a different angle. Her analysis of builder genetic data had revealed something extraordinary. The builders didn't just leave technology behind, she announced. They left genetic markers. Traces of their experiments are embedded in the DNA of every species they contacted, including humans. The implications were staggering. The builders had been preparing the galaxy for this fight for millions of years, subtly guiding the evolution of species that might one day stand against the harvesters. We're not just random survivors, Tom realized. We're their backup plan. With this knowledge, the alliance grew stronger. Species that had been suspicious of human motives began to understand that they were all part of something larger than any single civilization. But time was running out. Scout reports showed the harvesters had accelerated their advance. They would reach the first inhabited system in 14 months. Tom stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the tactical display showing the approaching darkness. 12 worlds, billions of lives, and humanity's promise to save them all. Signal the fleet, he ordered. All ships, prepare for the largest rescue operation in galactic history. We're going to show the universe what humans do when people need help. The evacuation fleet began moving toward the outer systems, carrying with it the hopes of every surviving species in the galaxy. The water world of Aquanus had never seen anything like the massive ships that suddenly appeared in its sky. Captain Eva Martinez watched through her view screen as millions of amphibious beings gathered on floating cities, their large eyes reflecting fear and confusion. Dr. Maya Patel, how are the translations coming? Eva asked her xenobiologist. Maya looked up from her communication console, where she had been working with artificial intelligence systems to decode the Aquanus language. I've got basic communication established. They call themselves the Delari, and they're understandably terrified. They think we're invaders. Eva had 12 hours to evacuate 40 million beings from a world that would be consumed by the harvesters in 2 days. The math was impossible, but humans had stopped believing in impossible things. Tell them we're here to save them. Show them the projections of what's coming. Maya transmitted the harvester data to the Delari communication networks. The response was immediate panic, followed by desperate acceptance. The peaceful aquatic beings had no weapons, no defenses, and no way to fight the approaching nightmare. Working with incredible efficiency, Eva's crew deployed massive transport pods into Aquanus's oceans. Each pod could carry 10,000 Delari and their essential belongings. The evacuation proceeded faster than anyone had dared hope, but Eva's ship was just one of dozens working simultaneously across the galaxy. Commander Pete Wilson faced a different challenge at the gas giant Typhonus. The silicon-based crystalline lived in the upper atmosphere, their cities floating like jeweled clouds in the planet's storm systems. They communicate through harmonic vibrations, Pete's science officer reported. It's like trying to have a conversation with living music. The crystalline were initially hostile, considering the human ships to be a threat to their delicate aerial ecosystems. But when Pete's team demonstrated the void drive technology and showed them recordings of destroyed systems, the aliens quickly understood the reality of their situation. They're boarding now, Pete reported through the neural web. 200,000 crystalline and their atmospheric habitat modules. They need specific gas mixtures to survive, but our life support teams figured it out. Not every evacuation went smoothly. The militant Thorians had met humanity's rescue fleet with weapons fire, convinced that the humans were advanced scouts. For the Harvesters, Captain Laura Bell found herself in a firefight with the species she was trying to save. "Maya, I need you to work some diplomatic magic here. These people are shooting at their own rescue ships." Dr. Maya Patel had become humanity's unofficial ambassador to alien species. Her breakthrough came when she accessed the Builder genetic database and compared it to biological samples from various species. "Laura, transmit this data to the Thorians. Show them the genetic markers. Every species the Builders contacted carries the same dormant DNA sequences, including humans." The genetic proof that humans were part of the Builders' ancient plan changed everything. The Thorians not only stopped shooting, but volunteered their own warships to help with evacuations. As the massive rescue operation continued, the scale of human logistics became apparent to their alien allies. Commander Jack Stone coordinated supply lines that stretched across hundreds of light years, ensuring that refugee fleets had food, medical supplies, and living space for billions of beings. "The humans are doing something impossible," Commander Zeth reported to his Kaleth Council. "They are moving entire civilizations with precision we never achieved even at our peak." But the Harvesters were also moving faster than predicted. Scout ships reported that the enemy had consumed 3 uninhabited systems and was accelerating toward the populated worlds. Captain Tom Bradley received the worst news during an emergency command meeting. "The Harvesters will reach the Delari system in 36 hours. We're not finished with the evacuation." Eva Martinez was still loading the last refugee ships when the Dark Shadow appeared at the edge of the Aquinas system. The Harvester Vanguard had arrived early. "Eva, you need to leave now." Tom's voice crackled through the neural web. "Negative. I've got 2 million Delari still on the surface. I'm not leaving them." The Harvester ships were unlike anything in the Builder records. They seemed to be constructed from the remains of consumed worlds, their hulls made from compressed matter and strange geometries that hurt to look at. "Jack, I need you to buy Eva some time," Tom ordered. Commander Jack Stone didn't hesitate. His heavy cruiser, Defiant, accelerated toward the approaching Harvesters, its weapons charging for combat. "Tom, tell my wife I kept my promise," Jack transmitted as his ship closed with the enemy. The battle was brief but decisive. Jack's ship, equipped with experimental Builder weapons, managed to destroy 2 Harvester scouts before being overwhelmed. But his sacrifice bought Ava the time she needed to complete the evacuation. As the Ark ships fled the dying Aquinas system, the refugees watched through viewports as their world was consumed. The Harvesters stripped the planet layer by layer, converting its matter into more of their geometric constructs. 43 million beings saved, Maya reported. "But Jack's crew, they died to save people they'd never met," Tom replied. "That's what humans do." The evacuation continued across the galaxy. Captain Laura Bell saved the silicon-based miners of Metalos, while Commander Pete Wilson evacuated the gas giant cities of 3 different systems. Each rescue required different techniques, different technologies, and different sacrifices. Dr. Rachel Kim coordinated the refugee integration aboard the massive Ark ships. With 17 different species now traveling together, the cultural and biological challenges were enormous. The crystalline need specific atmospheric conditions, the Delari require saltwater environments, and the Thorians are carnivores who consider most other species to be food, Rachel reported during a logistics meeting. But humanity's talent for organization and problem-solving proved equal to the challenge. The Ark ships were redesigned on the fly to accommodate every species' needs. More importantly, the refugees began working together, sharing their unique abilities to improve their chances of survival. The Delari have incredible mathematical abilities, Maya discovered. They can calculate hyperspace trajectories in their heads. The crystalline can process quantum data faster than our computers, and the Thorians are natural tactical analysts. As the combined fleet retreated deeper into the galaxy, they were joined by other survivor groups, The Kaleth brought their stealth. Technology, while newly contacted species, contributed their own expertise. But the harvesters continued their advance, consuming system after system. Each world they devoured made them stronger and more intelligent. They're learning from every species they consume, Emma Torres warned from Earth. Their tactics are evolving faster than we can adapt to them. The refugee fleet needed a destination, somewhere they could make a final stand. Tom Bradley studied the galactic maps, looking for a system that could be defended. Here, he decided, pointing to a star system near the galaxy's core. Multiple planets, asteroid fields for resources, and only a few hyperspace entry points. If we're going to make our stand, this is where we do it. The system had an appropriate name: Sanctuary. As the massive fleet of refugees, human warships, and allied forces approached their new home, Tom reflected on what humanity had accomplished. In less than 3 years, they had gone from a single world species to the coordinators of the largest multi-species alliance in galactic history. 2 billion beings saved, he announced to the fleet. 17 different species, all working together for the first time in galactic history. But the harvesters were still coming, and the final battle was approaching. As Tom watched the ships of the rescue fleet take up defensive positions around Sanctuary, he knew that everything they had built would soon be tested in the ultimate trial. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "Prepare for the fight of our lives. We're not just defending Sanctuary. We're defending the right of free beings to exist in this galaxy." The greatest battle in galactic history was about to begin. Admiral Robert Hayes had never commanded a fleet this diverse. Around the Sanctuary system, ships from 17 different species formed defensive lines that stretched across space. Human vessels worked alongside Kaleth stealth ships, crystalline atmospheric fighters, and Thorian heavy cruisers. "Enemy contacts detected at the edge of the system," reported the tactical officer. "Harvester fleet numbering in the thousands." Robert studied the approaching enemy formation through the neural web's shared consciousness. Every ship captain, every tactical officer, and every crew member in the Allied fleet could see what he saw and coordinate their responses instantly. "The harvesters have changed," observed Commander Zeth from his position aboard the Kaleth flagship. "They're using technology we don't recognize." The enemy ships now incorporated design elements from every species they had consumed. Builder, energy weapons, Kaleth stealth systems, and the unique abilities of dozens of extinct civilizations had been absorbed into their collective intelligence. Dr. Maya Patel, now serving as the fleet's xenobiological advisor, analyzed the enemy formations. "They're not just copying the technology, they're improving it. Each species they've consumed has added to their knowledge base." Admiral Hayes activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All ships, this is Admiral Hayes. Today we fight not just for our own survival, but for every free being in this galaxy. The harvesters believe that consumption is the only path to strength. We're going to prove them wrong." The battle began when the harvesters launched their first wave. Thousands of geometric ships poured into the Sanctuary system, their hulls crackling with absorbed technologies from dead civilizations. Captain Tom Bradley, commanding the human flagship Defiance, led the first counterattack. "All ships, implement the Prometheus Protocol." The Prometheus Protocol was humanity's final innovation, developed by combining builder technology with human tactical thinking. Modified void drives throughout the fleet began generating artificial gravity wells, creating pockets of distorted space that trapped the harvesters in normal physics. "It's working," reported Captain Eva Martinez from her position commanding the evacuation ships. "The harvesters can't use their dark energy manipulation while trapped in the gravity wells." But the enemy adapted quickly. Within minutes, they had modified their approach, using concentrated firepower to collapse the gravity wells and free their trapped ships. "They're learning faster than we expected," Admiral Hayes observed. "Time for Phase 2. Phase 2 involved something no military commander had ever attempted: real-time tactical evolution using the neural web. Every battle outcome, every successful maneuver, and every failed strategy was instantly shared across the entire fleet and analyzed by the combined intelligence of 17 species. The Delari's mathematical abilities calculated optimal firing solutions. The crystalline's quantum processing predicted enemy movements. The Thorian's tactical instincts identified weak points in harvester formations. Human creativity combined all these elements into strategies that changed second by second. "The enemy is confused," reported Captain Laura Bell, whose destroyer had just executed a maneuver that combined Kaleth stealth technology with human unpredictability. "They can't predict our tactics because we're inventing them as we fight." The big battle raged for hours. Ships from both sides were destroyed, but the Allied fleet's adaptive tactics began taking their toll. For every Allied ship lost, 3 harvester vessels were eliminated. But the harvesters had one final strategy. They began sacrificing their own ships, ramming them into Allied vessels, and detonating their dark energy cores. "They're trying to take us down with them," Admiral Hayes realized. "All ships, implement Dispersal Pattern 7. The Allied fleet scattered across the system, using the asteroid fields and planetary bodies for cover. But several human ships were caught by the kamikaze attacks. Commander Pete Wilson's cruiser Guardian took a direct hit from a self-destructing harvester. As his ship's hull breached and systems failed, he made a decision that would inspire the entire fleet. "All hands, abandon ship. I'm setting course for the harvester command vessel." Pete's voice remained calm, even as his bridge filled with smoke. "Tell my family I did my duty." Pete's dying ship, its void drive overloading, slammed into the largest harvester construct. The explosion created a chain reaction that destroyed a dozen enemy vessels and left a massive gap in their formation. Pete's sacrifice opened their center, Admiral Hayes announced. "All ships concentrate fire on the command structure." The combined firepower of the Allied fleet poured into the harvester command ship. But instead of being destroyed, the massive vessel began to change. Its geometric hull shifted and adapted, incorporating the Allied weapon technologies even as it was being damaged. "It's learning from our attacks," Dr. Maya Patel warned. "Every shot we fire teaches it how to defend against our weapons." Admiral Hayes realized they needed a completely different approach. "All ships, cease fire. Implement the final protocol." The final protocol was humanity's most desperate strategy. Instead of trying to destroy the harvesters with weapons, they would use the one thing the enemy couldn't adapt to, the unpredictability of conscious choice. Every ship in the Allied fleet began broadcasting on all frequencies simultaneously. Not weapons fire or energy beams, but something the harvesters had never encountered, the combined thoughts, dreams, and individual consciousness of 17 different species. The effect on the Harvester Collective was immediate and catastrophic. Their shared intelligence, designed to process and absorb organized information, couldn't handle the chaotic creativity of free-thinking beings. "The harvester ships are shutting down," reported Captain Tom Bradley. "Their collective consciousness is overloading." One by one, the geometric vessels went dark as their shared intelligence collapsed under the weight of individual thought. The few remaining harvester ships attempted to retreat, but the Allied fleet pursued them to the edge of the system. In the aftermath of the battle, Admiral Hayes surveyed the cost of victory. Nearly half the Allied fleet had been destroyed or damaged. Thousands of beings from multiple species had died in the fighting. But they had won. The harvester threat was ended. Captain Laura Bell led the investigation of the destroyed harvester vessels. What her team discovered changed everything they thought they knew about their enemy. "Admiral, you need to see this," Laura reported from inside a wrecked harvester ship. "They weren't always the enemy. These beings were once like us." The harvester technology contained memory cores from their original civilization. Millions of years ago, they had been a peaceful species facing their own extinction. In their desperation to survive, they had made the choice to consume other civilizations, believing it was the only way to preserve life in the universe. They became monsters to avoid becoming victims, Dr. Maya Patel observed sadly. They thought survival justified anything. The victory was complete but bittersweet. The galaxy was safe, but at the cost of completely destroying a species that had once been as noble as any other. 5 years after the Battle of Sanctuary, the system had become the center of a new kind of civilization. 17 different species worked together, sharing their knowledge and cultures in ways that had never been possible before. Earth served as the military protector of this new alliance, with human ships patrolling the galaxy to ensure no new threats emerged. But more importantly, humanity had become the diplomatic core that held the diverse alliance together. Dr. Emma Torres, now elderly but still sharp, worked in the Sanctuary Research Facility where scientists from all species collaborated on projects. That benefited everyone. The combination of different types of intelligence was producing breakthroughs at an incredible rate. We've learned more about the universe in 5 years than most species discover in centuries, she reported to the Alliance Council. The Dalari's mathematical insights combined with crystalline quantum processing and human creativity is revolutionizing science. But Emma's most important discovery came from studying the Builder archives found throughout the galaxy. The Builders hadn't just prepared species to fight the Harvesters. They had been preparing them to build something better. The Builders saw this moment, Emma announced to the Council. They knew that someday the galaxy would need to come together as one community. Everything they did was designed to make that possible. The evidence was overwhelming. The genetic markers, the technology, the strategic placement of their facilities, all of it had been calculated to create the alliance that now protected the galaxy. Captain Tom Bradley, now Admiral of the Alliance Fleet, stood on the observation deck of Sanctuary Station, looking out at the bustling traffic of ships from dozens of species. The refugee camps had become thriving cities. The defensive positions had become trade routes. "Admiral," his communication officer announced, "we're receiving a transmission from the outer galaxy. It's another distress signal." Tom's blood ran cold. Another threat? Another species facing extinction? But when he read the translated message, he smiled. It wasn't a distress call. It was a request for help from a young civilization that had detected the Sanctuary broadcasts and wanted to join the Alliance. "Signal the fleet," Tom ordered. "Prepare for a diplomatic mission. Looks like our family is about to get bigger." Dr. Emma Torres received her own message that same day, transmitted through space from the edge of the known universe. The signal was weak, but clearly artificial, bearing the same quantum signatures as the original Builder warning. "Admiral Bradley," she called through the communication system, "we're receiving signals from beyond our galaxy, multiple sources all asking for help." Tom felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The Alliance had saved their own galaxy, but the universe was vast and apparently full of species that needed help. How many signals, Emma? Dozens. Maybe hundreds. It looks like there are threats out there we haven't even imagined yet. Tom looked at the diverse crew around him, beings from 17 different worlds working together with a unity that would have been impossible just a few years ago. Humanity had brought them together, but they had all chosen to stay together. "Signal all member species," he decided. "Ask for volunteers for an extended mission beyond our galaxy. We've got work to do." Within hours, ships from every species in the Alliance were volunteering for the mission. The refugees that humanity had saved were now eager to help save others. As the new expedition fleet prepared to depart, Emma Torres stood in her laboratory, looking at the star charts showing signals from distant galaxies. Each one represented species facing the same kind of existential threats that had once threatened Earth. "The Builders were right," she whispered to herself. This was never about just saving our galaxy. This was about creating something that could help save them all. The fleet departed Sanctuary with fanfare and celebration. But as Tom Bradley watched the familiar stars fade behind them, he knew they were embarking on something far greater than a rescue mission. They were carrying the idea that different species could work together. They were proving that diversity was strength. That cooperation was more powerful than consumption, and that sometimes the greatest victories came not from defeating enemies, but from making friends. Behind them, Sanctuary continued its work as the capital of the Galactic Alliance. Ahead of them, an infinite universe waited for help. Humanity had started as a single world receiving a message from the void. Now they were the message, carrying hope to species they had never met in galaxies they had never seen. The journey was just beginning.